The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John.
Glory to you, O Lord.
Now a man was ill, Lazarus from Bethany, the village of Mary and her sister Martha. Mary was the one who had anointed the Lord with perfumed oil and dried his feet with her hair. It was her brother Lazarus who was ill. So the sisters sent word to him, saying, "Master, the one you love is ill." When Jesus heard this, he said, "This illness is not to end in death, but is for the glory of God, that the Son of God may be glorified through it." Now Jesus loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus. So when he heard that he was ill, he remained for 2 days in the place where he was. Then after this he said to his disciples, "Let us go back to Judea." The disciples said to him, "Rabbi, the Jews were just trying to stone you, and you want to go back there?" Jesus answered, "Are there not 12 hours in a day? If one walks during the day, he does not stumble, because he sees the light of this world. But if one walks at night, he stumbles, because the light is not in him." He said this and then told them, "Our friend Lazarus is asleep, but I am going to awaken him." So the disciples said to him, "Master, if he is asleep, he will be saved." But Jesus was talking about his death, while they thought that he meant ordinary sleep. So then Jesus said to them clearly, "Lazarus has died. And I am glad for you that I was not there, that you may believe. Let us go to him." So Thomas, called Didymus, said to his fellow disciples, "Let us also go to die with him." When Jesus arrived, he found that Lazarus had already been in the tomb for 4 days. Now Bethany was near Jerusalem, only about 2 miles away. And many of the Jews had come to Martha and Mary to comfort them about their brother. When Martha heard that Jesus was coming, she went out to meet him, but Mary sat at home. Martha said to Jesus, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. But even now I know that whatever you ask of God, God will give you." Jesus said to her, "Your brother will rise." Martha said to him, "I know he will rise in the resurrection on the last day." Jesus told her, "I am the resurrection and the life. Whoever believes in me, even if he dies, will live. And everyone who lives and believes in me will never die. Do you believe this?" She said to him, "Yes, Lord. I have come to believe that you are the Christ, the Son of God, the one who is coming into the world." When she had said this, she went and called her sister Mary secretly, saying, "The teacher is here and is asking for you." As soon as she heard this, she rose quickly and went to him. For Jesus had not yet come into the village, but was still where Martha had met him. So when the Jews who were with her in the house, comforting her, saw Mary get up quickly and go out, they followed her, presuming that she was going to the tomb to weep there. When Mary came to where Jesus was and saw him, she fell at his feet and said to him, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." But when Jesus saw her weeping and the Jews who had come with her weeping, he became perturbed and deeply troubled and said, "Where have you laid him?" They said to him, "Sir, come and see." And Jesus wept. So the Jews said, "See how he loved him." But some of them said, "Could not the one who opened the eyes of the blind man have done something so that this man would not have died?" So Jesus, perturbed again, came to the tomb. It was a cave, and a stone lay across it. Jesus said, "Take away the stone." Martha, the dead man's sister, said to him, "Lord, by now there will be a stench. He has been dead for 4 days." Jesus said to her, "Did I not tell you that if you believe, you will see the glory of God?" So they took away the stone. And Jesus raised his eyes and said, "Father, I thank you for hearing me. I know that you always hear me. But because of the crowd here, I have said this, that they may believe that you sent me." And when he had said this, he cried out in a loud voice, "Lazarus, come out." The dead man came out, tied hand and foot with burial bands, and his face was wrapped in a cloth. So Jesus said to them, "Untie him and let him go." Now many of the Jews who had come to Mary and seen what he had done began to believe in him. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Good evening. Welcome to this sacred space. Welcome to those joining us through the live stream. Lazarus has died, Jesus tells the disciples. It's not hard to imagine the questions that might be running through the minds of the disciples, and through the hearts of Martha and Mary. They're the same kind of questions that we ask ourselves and each other whenever life is interrupted and changed in ways that we don't want. They're the same kinds of questions that we ask when circumstances show us just how difficult, fragile, and beautiful life really is. Why? How could this happen? What's next for me? Is this an ending or a beginning? How do I move forward? How do I make sense of what's happened? What will life be like now? Why didn't it work out the way I wanted? What should I have done differently? Is there life after this? Why didn't God do something? We live with more questions than answers. And the answers we do have sometimes don't seem to carry the weight and authority they once did. Our lives are filled with unanswered questions. These unanswered questions tend to leave us disappointed. Disappointed in life itself, in ourselves, in another, or sometimes in God. And disappointment is wrapped up and bound by our unmet expectations. That's where Martha and Mary are in today's gospel. They're disappointed. "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died," they both say separately to Jesus. Even the crowd that follows Mary is disappointed. Could not the one who opened the eyes of the blind man have done something so that this man would not have died, they ask? However, there's something honest, heartfelt, and real about Martha and Mary's words of disappointment to Jesus. They're offering and making themselves available to him. They rethink what they know about life and death and resurrection. They risk smelling the stench of death. Death wraps around us like strips of cloth, grave clothes, and it stinks. If we really look at our lives, we'll see the reality of death. It's there in our divorces and broken relationships, in our wounds and betrayals, in our fears, in our anger and resentment, in our addictions, in our sorrow and despair, in our excessive busyness and preoccupation with success, in things done and left undone. It seems death permeates our lives and world. And the smell of death sometimes seems more real than the fragrance of life. It seems those gathered at the tomb trust the stench more than the fragrance. Take away the stone, Jesus says. His words echo Ezekiel's prophecy that God will open our graves, bring us up from those graves, put his Spirit within us, and we shall live. And all this happens in Jesus, the one who is resurrection and life. Martha protests. Death has filled her nostrils. Lord, by now there will be stench. He has been dead for 4 days. We too have said that. He's beyond help. It's his own fault. Leave him alone. She's always been like that. She'll never change. It's hopeless. It will always be like this. No matter what I do, how hard I try, nothing happens. Our words may be different, but the meaning is the same. These are words of death. Words that say we trust the stench more than the fragrance. Jesus doesn't deny that death stinks. It does. It always has. Instead, Jesus asks us to release the life, the fragrance that is wrapped in death. Unbind him and let him go, Jesus commands. To unbind another or let ourselves be unbound means that we must trust the perfume of life more than the stink. They did that for Lazarus. With each strip of cloth they removed, death trembled, knowing its days were numbered. To attempt to insulate ourselves from disappointment to life's questions is to close ourselves to the vulnerabilities that make possible real life, love, intimacy, and relationships with God or another. It limits what we're willing to risk giving or receiving. But while we might want to escape our disappointments, life wants to use them. Life does not waste our disappointments, and Jesus always stands in the middle of life. Disappointment calls into question our assumptions about life, ourselves, each other, and God. Disappointment asks us to reassess ourselves and our inner world. It's the first step in freeing us from misguided assumptions. It breaks old patterns of seeing and relating that have become hardened and less than life-sustaining. It opens our eyes to a deeper way of seeing. Jesus uses our disappointments in the unanswered questions of life to invite us to a larger reality than what we create ourselves and project onto the world. Isn't that what he's doing with Martha and Mary? I am the resurrection and the life. Take away the stone. Did I not tell you that if you believe, you will see the glory of God? Lazarus, come out. Untie him and let him go. The great question before us is whether we experience our disappointments as an opportunity for seeing and engaging our lives and the world in new, different, and life-giving ways, or whether we experience it only as a wound that makes us retreat from further participation. It's a question that we answer every day. The unbinding of Lazarus was a death sentence for death. That sentence was carried out in the crucifixion and resurrection of Jesus the Christ, present in the Eucharist we receive today. Every disappointment holds the choice between engaging or retreating from the world in our lives. Jesus uses them as entry points into our lives. They become points of identification with us. Every day we smell death. And every day we have the opportunity, by the grace of God, to change and be changed, to unbind and be unbound, to let go and be let go.